Hello, I'm Julia Cordova. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos. I really appreciate it. So last week I talked about having started a Substack or a newsletter or a blog or whatever you want to call it. And really what that is it's a written down version or much more thorough version of what I usually do on Sunday nights, but it's so that people who really want the information can have those levels in front of them, the charts in front of them, so that as I'm talking on Sunday nights, that you can see that and you can make notes and things like that. But for those of you who don't want to subscribe to that, that's okay too. So I think a lot of people weren't necessarily taking screenshots of the video. You can if you want, but they weren't necessarily taking screenshots of the videos and then sort of writing those levels down. Some people were, but really I think a lot of people subscribe because they want to know why I think something, not what I think necessarily. So anyway, moving forward, what I thought I would do is publish the videos on Sunday night for people who choose to opt into that newsletter. But if you don't, that's okay. And then you can have access to the videos on Tuesday. They will have been recorded on Sunday. And that way, you'll get reflections still of why I think something. It'll still be very educational and hopefully helpful, but that would be the differentiating factor. So I hope that works. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk charts. You ready? Whoop. All right. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about this week what I did last week because I have a written down version of that if you wanted to, you could see on Twitter. But anyway, so let's start off by looking at the ES or SPX weekly futures chart. So you can see that we broke out of this bull flag a couple weeks ago, and then what is this business? This is what's called a graveyard doji. It's not the most bullish looking candle in the world. It's pretty freaking bearish looking, but if we look at these MAs, 2 out of 3 of them are still pointed upwards. It's still above the 20 MA, which is the very basic welcome to trading 101 bullish signal. So it's still technically bullish, and it's still okay as long as it's above this better line of 4535. Okay. Now, what I didn't have drawn in last week, jeez Louise, as if I'm adverse to adding lines, is this line here. I took the same channel line I had before, and I sort of just put it against the top of this candle. And what do you know? Last week was a perfect back test of that. So the levels that I'm watching are above here, bullish, below, not so bullish. Okay, and these are the levels. Now let's talk about the hourly. So I kind of drawn this in because I'm like, when things break out from the diamond shapes, they usually go up or down, but and look what it did. It came back tested, right? And then it just went, and this was another little diamond shape here. So I'm just noticing the algos recently are, sometimes it's funny because the algos go through different shapes. And I'm just seeing a lot of diamonds recently. It's very funny because I'll see a lot of diamonds, and then I'll see a lot of head and shoulders, then I'll see a lot of flags. It's just odd the way that the algos seem to cycle through them. So anyway, we close the week right back here. It's strange, right? But right back here at this 4537 line. So we'll have to see. I have sort of the next level hourly is 4572. I'll have to watch that. And then below that, I don't have a lot until this 4467.50 line, unless it starts doing a shape or something like that, and I will let you know on Twitter. Let's look at NASDAQ. Okay, same dealio here. We have a big flag, but it didn't break out until last week. And then even though this candle, the body, the wicks look a little less bearish than the ES or SPX futures candle does, it is not technically yet because we have not gotten a close above these MAs. We're still, even though we're above the 9, which means short term, it's going up, we're still below the 20 and we're below the 50. So these are the levels that I'm watching right now. Last week I talked about 15209 as being sort of a level to short. Wow, that was pretty good. I didn't take this one. I took the small caps, and I'll tell you why on the next chart. But anyway, these are the levels I'm watching. It is technically bullish as long as it is above this key level of 14,358. But it so far is just resting on top of this, and we'll see. This would be a back test of the channel, or the flag right here at 14,623. Okay, so now let's look at small caps. All right, this is also the weekly small caps. So last week I sort of took advantage of the fact that, you know, usually when you have an upwards breakout out of a bear flag, just similar to when you have a downwards breakout out of a bull flag, it's usually either it rips and then, you know what, you have your stop here, you take your L's, you're like, all right, I got it. But that's what I chose to do, is because I just thought it was high likelihood, or highest likelihood, that something like that would then get back into the flag. So what does that mean? Well, typically a fakey breaky like this is very bearish, but just because I want to be extremely cautious, just because you still have the whoop of this MA, I am not fully bearish as of yet, although I do have a bearish bias for this week. So as long as it's below 2107, bearish, and if it's above that, bullish. This is the next resistance, 2120.8, and if it gets much above there, whoop, I think. Okay, so let's watch those two levels. And then inside of this area, really all that I have to guide us is this MA here. Not a bad thing, right? You don't want too many lines. Can't believe I just said that. Anyway, that's what I have inside of the flag. Maybe on a smaller time frame I'll have more, and I can certainly look into that if people are actively trading it the way that I am. So anyway, that's what I have. And this 9MA, you know, just eyeballing it, looks to be around the 2040 area or so. All right, so now let's look at Bitcoin. Okay. Oh boy. So I have to say, I'm pretty proud of myself for seeing this ascending triangle before. I don't know if anybody else saw it. I don't know, but I saw it pretty close, or pretty early on, I guess is the right way to say it. We still have not broken above this big key level here. We did, however, back test the orange, and I was like, no. And then we back test the top of this triangle. So what we want to have happen here is and look, it's looking a little flaggy, right? Maybe I'll have to draw that in, because this is looking a slightly bull flaggy as of now. But the next resistance I have for this would be Monday, would be 47489. Okay, and then, you know, that might be a little tricky one. So we'll see if it can get there. And I talked about this on Telegram, I'm not ruling out the possibility that even if ES or the market was to go down, it's possible that crypto could go up, because crypto is leading by a number of months, I think. So let's just consider that, okay? Let's look at Ethereum. Okay, so, you know, this is out sort of in the middle of my two big areas. I didn't update this chart, I'm sorry. But anyway, it's sort of floating in the middle of these two areas. It looks kind of the same thing. It's a little more bullish looking, just because it doesn't have that, well, I mean, it's up, right? But it just didn't have the same flag formation as Bitcoin has on the daily. But really, it's still just messing around until it gets above this 3969 level. And then, you know, there's kind of a double resistance there. So that's what I'm watching there. And well, let me just look. So people could say that this is bearish divergence, and in fact, it looks to be. But if price continues up, and if we can get a higher high on this RSI, then potentially it could go into turbo mode. So keep an eye on that divergence if you are trading Ethereum. Let's look at Doge. I love Doge. I don't know if you know that. I love Doge. Anyway, okay, we back tested this orange line. And so far, this looks like just very healthy consolidation. Finally, we're above here, and we're above the MAs right now. So they're starting to cross. That's a very good sign. So we just need that momentum to continue upwards, and we're good. As far as RSI goes, kind of the same dealio here, but it looks like potentially we could get a little bit higher before we know what else is going to happen. Okay, now let's look at GDX, or gold miners. Okay, so the most interesting thing from last week, I thought, was that both gold miners and the oil stocks closed near highs. GDX closed up because the week before it hadn't closed near the highs. But anyway, above this 39.43, and that's super breakout. So it's very bullish, probably up all the way into this 41.42 area at a minimum. Now, if it opens under that, then potentially that could be short-term bearish for this week. So it's just got to hold this 37.24 and yay. Otherwise, nay. But look at this. They're starting to all curl up. It looks pretty good as of right now. And you can see that we have a slight RSI breakout here. Okay, now let's look at gold. Gold, I talked about potentially being a bull flag on the weekly, but you know what? For all of my trying to fit things into different pictures, I could not draw a nice bull flag there. I don't know. So I'm leaving it for now. I will say on the 4-hour, this looks like a bear flag to me, right? But it came back into this, right? So, however, do you see this potential bear flag here? Smaller, right? So really what I'm looking at for this week is 1926. Can it hold 1926 or not? Above, yay. Below, nay. And there is a little bit of a gap here at this 1918 to 20 area. So that should be supportive. Although what you don't want to have happen is a tiny little head and shoulders here, right? Because, you know, we don't want that. But back above this 1939, and that's why I say back above 1939, it will be bullish, okay? But in this area here, a little bit of caution is warranted, but let's wait until it gets above 1939. Now, if it breaks below this short-term gap here, it could possibly go to 1860.8, which would be the measured move of that little bear flag, okay? But the measured move with the larger bear flag is all the way down here at 1744. So let's watch it. Now let's look at silver. Silver is a little bit more of a cleaner, it's much more cleaner bull flag on the weekly, but it does have some things going on that we should be aware of, and that is that both gold and silver left partial gaps, and that's what we thought, right? That's what typically happens. The first time something comes down, either it goes below this bottom gap line, and then it'll touch the next support before it decides what to do, or because it usually doesn't just exactly hit one and then go up, right? That's why I like to buy sort of in the middle of these kinds of gaps. But anyway, just watch the bottom gap here, the bottom line of the gap at 24.015. So we'll see whether or not we can keep that level this week. Of course, this MA here, the 20 is going to be important for us as well, but it's potentially possible that we can come all the way back down into this gap, although I hope not. But in case, let's just keep ourselves aware of it. Let's have a plan for if that actually happens. And then the key level here is 24.945, which we are currently below, although we are above the MAs. Okay, now let's look at oil. So oil here, we were short last week. Yay, woohoo. And then for this week, this is a triangle, right? Or a bullish pennant because it's on a stick. So it's really just consolidating. Even though this looks extremely turbulent, it's consolidating. So there's a gap now below, there's a gap above, and we'll be watching those areas if price action breaks out of this triangle, because each will be either support or resistance. And so these are the levels I'm watching in oil. Meanwhile, XOP, right? Like if you look on week, it hardly made a change, but just very similar to GDX, it closed near the highs. So below this level is bearish. Above this level is bullish. It's very simple. Same with GDX. Very, very simple. And it does look to be constructive on the RSI, but let us see. All right, now let's look at Natty. Okay, we are near resistance for Natty. So even though last week we continued up and we got exactly same as in silver and gold, same exact thing, right? This is a previous gap. See where it's drawn in here? It's a previous gap. And then it came down, tested sort of the middle bottom of it, same exact thing, and then came right back out of it. So this week I'm watching 5.89 as a high, and then 5.477 as sort of support here. And let's see what happens. If it gets above, if it gaps above 5.89 and comes down, whatever, and that would be great, right? But that sort of now is very important to me. I did take some partial profit last week because we got close. But we'll see if it can get above. I'd be more than happy to add back what I sold, or if it gets back to some supportive level, I'd like to add it back again there as well. But I'm still holding. Oh, look at that, gapped up. Oh, from where it closed, of course. But let's see if it can get above this 5.89, and then let's look at coffee, Joe. Okay, so remember a long time ago, one of my favorite things in the world is an ascending triangle, and we got. We broke out of that, made a bear flag, or sorry, made a bull flag, and didn't quite get to where I wanted it to go here, came back down, but now it back tested this top of the bull flag, top of the ascending triangle. So really now 58.59 is the level to watch. If you are bullish, we don't want it back below there. It's already tested this area twice, so no thank you. We don't need another test, but see how this is a gap here, right? From here to here. Well, actually, I should make that a little lower. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So my point is that this is the middle of a gap here, and 64.18 is the level to watch because that's also entering back in that channel. I expect that there will be some resistance there. Okay. Okay. Actually, I have to move this up a little bit though, right? Let me do that right now. There we go. All right. Same dealio though. Same dealio. Still in the middle of the gap. All right. Now, that's it. So, okay, let me make myself big. All right. Do it. Don't know why. All right. Anyway, thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel and liking my videos. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you on the interwebs. Okay, bye.